So, I was going to post this on my Facebook, but I didn't get a chance to. I was going to do it right before you guys, before I came on. But I was actually, I was trying to figure out what section of the book I was going to read. What's up, Navoya? What's going on, people? Oh, good day, thinkers, thought leaders, progressives, and dreamers. I'm Craig the Writer Stewart, and this is the Facebook Live version of So Much to Say. So, of course, we're going to talk about Words Never Spoken. That was Tracy that wanted to have a dialogue about the first book. Tracy, your second book will be there tomorrow. Jeremy, he ordered the second book. It'll be there tomorrow. And then somebody from Houston, Texas ordered. His will be tomorrow. Mary, you only finished the first chapter, really? Like, seriously? But let me finish what I was saying. So I was just in this little restaurant getting me something to eat, getting myself something to eat. And so hopefully you guys have your questions about the book. The greeting cards are hit, Tracy. That's awesome. That is awesome. I don't know where Marika is. She might be charging her Obama phone. But I was in this restaurant getting me something to eat. And this little black woman was making my food, right? And she was so sweet. All right, Deonica, go ahead and get that sweatshirt, right? I know This Is Us is on. I know. So you're going to have to choose. Either you're going to watch This Is Us or you're going to watch me. You're either going to watch the white people or you're going to watch me. I'm just playing. This Is Us is one of my favorite shows. But this little sweet little black lady was making my food. And she was so nice. And she was just like, so what can you get? What would you like? So I ordered my food. And I was just watching her. I'm such a... No, this is not chicken. This is tofu. You know I don't eat chicken. So she was making my plate. And I'm just such a people watcher. And my mind just goes and goes and goes. Antonio, you crazy. And so I'm just looking at this woman like, what is her story? What is this lady's story? Because then, like, she walked over to the grill because I wanted some grilled onions and green peppers. And so she kind of had like a little hobble over, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, this older lady in here working at this restaurant, what's her story? Like, how did she get here? And then I started thinking like, well, you know, what choices did she make for herself in life? Like, was she one of those people that didn't really take life seriously? Did she not take education seriously? Like, how did she end up at this little job, right? And then there was a little voice, just a little whisper, and it said, I don't know how she ended up here, or what her life choices were, whether they were poor choices or good choices. But all I know is I'm going to respect this lady because she came before me. Amen. And I know a lot of times because we get a degree, we get an education, or we start making really good money. I have to talk about these 5 pages, but I just figured I would pull 5 pages, and then we can talk about whatever you want to talk about from the first book. Now, this conversation is only going to work for those who read the books. Amen. Who read the first book. All right, let me turn this down. Okay. Y'all ready? Amen? Say amen. Say yes or something. Okay, thanks, Alfonso. I ain't thinking about CeCe Peniston. She ain't about to get no no money from me for playing this. Okay. So this is from the chapter called Dream Chasing. So this is actually the second chapter. No, this ain't the second chapter. This is 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th chapter in the first book. And it's called Dream Chasing. And I called this chapter dream chasing because I had just graduated from college. I had just graduated from Hampton University. And I was moving to Atlanta because at the time, Atlanta was like bustling. Like it was the place where LaFace Records was, Dallas Austin Recording Projects, which was DARP. Monica was under Rowdy Records. Noontime was here. I mean, everything in the music industry was here. Like it was, Atlanta was just like, it was popping. And so I decided I was going to move to Atlanta because remember, the only thing that I thought I wanted to do when I was 22 was write music. I went to college for broadcast journalism. I thought I was going to sit on the news and be an anchor. But once I got to college, I realized that wasn't what I wanted to do. So I was moving to Atlanta. So I called this chapter Dream Chasing because I was moving and placing all of my bets on becoming a songwriter. But here's the interesting thing. When I started my publishing company is the company that publishes these books, both of the books, the greeting cards as well. I was going to call it Impeccable Music, but there was just a little whisper. There was a little instinct that I had that told me, no, don't call it Impeccable Music because you're going to do more than music. And call it, oh, did I lose my pages? The little whisper said, call it Impeccable Works because you're going to do you're going to do something other than music. And I'm glad I did because I ended up writing and producing a stage play, the greeting cards, like I said, the books came up under there. So I'm glad I didn't call it Impeccable Music. Hold on, I'm trying to find my, oh, here it is. I found where I was. Shauna said the news would not be able to handle me. Shut up, Deonica, and you co-signing. All right, so this chapter is called Dream Chasing. So let me tell you this little story before Dr. Peyton. Come on, Tony, you better remember the characters' names. So listen, so this is where I was going to start in another spot when my dad and I are in the car driving to Atlanta. But I actually see a piece of something else that I want to read first. It was actually a greeting card that a friend of mine gave me. If you remember in the first book, there's a character, her name is Justice. Her mom's name, Mrs. Marshall, was her name in the book. And her mom just adored me. Her mom absolutely adored me. And she still adores me, right? And so I was in New York. The last time I was in New York, I saw her mom. And my friend, Justice, that's not her real name, but my friend Justice, had bought 5 of my second book, right? And so she had already bought the books and had given one to her mom. She gave one to her sister. And, she just gave them away. Those are the best kind of people that just like buys books and gives them away as gifts. Hint, hint, Christmas is coming. So anyway, yes, the candle card, Godfrey. Y'all better be on it. Come on now. Oh, this is really interesting. Yeah, so Tracy, that's where I'm going to start, the car ride with my dad. But I want to tell you guys about this card that Mrs. Marshall gave me. So when I was in New York the last time, my friend Justice had bought 5 of the second book. And so her mom was just like, oh my God, how are you doing? And how are things going with the books? And just da-da-da. Like she's just she just loves me, right? And if you read this first book, you remember when she said to Justice, this was away from me, she said to Justice, she said, that's somebody you want to be friends with because he's going to go somewhere. And Justice was dating this guy in college who was just like dealing with all of these girls on the campus. He was driving her car, picking up other girls and stuff. And her mother did not like him for Justice. She wasn't trying to set her up with me, but she just said to her, that boy that you're fooling with, he's going to grow up to be an intelligent loser. An intelligent loser. I just thought that was so profound the way she worded that. So anyway, I'm back in New York. I'm in New York the last time. Justice had already bought 5 of my books. And so her mom, she had come over to the house one day. Look, here comes Marika with her late ass. I think she was charging her phone. So her mom was about to leave. And she says, hey, I got something for you. So she came and grabbed my hand. And you know how an older person grab your hand and they cup it like that? She had $50 in her hand, and she handed it. I thought it was the sweetest thing. I said, no, you don't have to do that. I said, because Tamara, I didn't told you her name. Justice, her real name is Tamara. I said, Tamara already paid for the books. She said, that's fine. I just want to do this. I just want to do this for you. Because, you know, and I just thought it was so sweet. So the card that her mom gave me in college when we graduated, I wanted to read that. Because it was such a beautiful card. And I keep all of the cards that people give me. I had like a box, like a shoe box that I keep them in. And so the card says, if I could give you anything as you graduate from college, I would give you a candle that burns as brightly as the light within you, the light you are. I would tell you to keep it burning no matter what. I would say don't let the well-intentioned extinguish it. Don't let the mean-spirited blow it out. Don't let your light flicker and fade because of everyday challenges and concerns. The world is large, and no one can illuminate it alone. But it is amazing how a single candle burning brightly can light so many others. The world needs your light. Hold your candle high. When I tell you that motherfucking card had me over in the corner, lips trembling, tears falling, and just verklempt. And just, oh my God, like I was thinking about so many things. Like I was just thinking, like this was literally the day we had just graduated. And my stuff was all packed in the cars. My family was waiting for me so we could get on the road to go back to Maryland, because literally 2 days after I graduated from Hampton, I was moving here to Atlanta. And so my mother and they were all ready to get on the road because they didn't want to hit traffic and blah, 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 blah. And I needed a moment. I needed a moment to collect myself. And all I kept thinking was, I may never see these people again. Of course, now, we stay in touch, and I see them all the time. Every time I go to New York or they come here, they'll stay, Justice will stay here. And so I was all to pieces because, life happens. Life happens. And you never know where life is going to take you or move you. And literally, I may not have seen any of those people ever again. Because there are literally people that I graduated college with that I've never seen since. They didn't just fell off the radar. They're not on social media. Like some people have died. Like you just don't know. And so I was really going through a lot of emotions and feelings after reading that card. But most importantly, I was just thinking like, wow, this woman believes in me. She sees something in me, right? And I've learned that people can see your gift on you. People can see your gift on you. And she saw something. And that was before I had written any books, or I was just talking about moving my ass to Atlanta. So fast forward, 2 days later, I've graduated, and my dad and I are in the car, and we're driving to Atlanta. And it's the wee hours of the morning. So, Marika, sit your ass down sitting here saying hello to everybody. You came in here late. Now sit down now with all of the goddamn hellos. I'm just playing. Okay. So again, this is from a chapter called Dream Chasing. Get your questions and shit ready. It doesn't have to be about this, but it could be about whatever. It was in the wee hours of the morning on Wednesday, May 12th, 1998. That my father and I drove from Baltimore to Atlanta. My father decided we would leave at 1 a.m. to avoid possible traffic on 95 South. Jackie, sit your ass down with all of the damn hellos. Go to sleep, Slim. I got it. I took a nap, he said. My father always called me Slim because of my height and lean frame. I've never been able to sleep in a car while someone else is driving, especially after a near accident in college with a few friends. 5 of us were sandwiched in a Volkswagen Jetta, leaving a club one night, and fortunately, I was in the front seat. Everyone except me drifted to sleep, including the driver, as we veered towards a utility pole. When I grabbed the wheel, they woke up screaming. Since I was awake for the 10-hour drive, I tried to pinpoint when my relationship with my dad changed. He was rambling about something as we merged onto 95 South, but my attention was divided. A series of memories dawned on me. My parents' divorce was finalized when I was a freshman in high school, but my father continued to play an integral part in my life despite it. He was the one who consistently told me I could be and do anything I put my mind to because I was smart. I never forgot that, but apparently he had for a short time during his 8-year marriage to Joanne. My dad remarried the summer before my freshman year in college. He and Joanne married and honeymooned in Montego Bay, Jamaica. The same summer, I traveled to Montreuil, France, for a second visit with the exchange family I lived with junior year of high school. This trip was a high school graduation gift from my mom. My mom told me after I returned from Europe that my dad had been sending child support. I found out after I came across the divorce papers that my father had been sending money every month since my 9th grade year, which explained why I had everything I needed and most of what I wanted, including the car insurance for the Corolla I bought in my 12th grade. My mother told me she would start depositing the child support check into my account each month to cover my expenses once I left for college. Yeah, that damn Joanne. The check comes around the 15th. Sometimes it's early and sometimes it's a little late. So I suggest you make it stretch. But do not call me for anything. I'm paying the tuition and the phone bill only. She warned in the way only a black mother can. The money was my livelihood and the reason I didn't have to work a part-time job to survive like many of my college friends. But for whatever reason, my father couldn't seem to believe my mother was depositing the full amount into my checking account each month. He questioned me to see if my mother really told me the correct amount. Even after I confirmed the amount, he griped about being required to send it to her first. Instead, he said he wanted to send it to me directly. His feelings about sending the money changed after he remarried, and his wife was the reason for his suspicion. It had never been a problem for him to send it until he and Joanne shared a joint checking account. Fortunately, my mom was savvy enough to add a clause in their divorce papers that enforced the child support payments until I turned 22 years old or finished college, whichever came first. Ladies, you know what you got to do. My father obviously hadn't paid much attention to the document since the divorce because he called just before my 18th birthday to tell my mother he wouldn't be sending the check any longer. Craig is turning 18 in May, so that will be my last check. My mother politely advised he turn to page 7, clause 11 of the divorce decree that stated he had an additional 4 years of payments to make. Furious, my father hung up the phone. I was so deep in thought, my father kept asking if I was asleep. What you thinking about? You awfully quiet. I looked at him, debating if this was the time to address the things that devastated our relationship. I could hear my mother's voice. Think about what you're going to say before you say it. Because even back then, I had so much to say. That advice was something she often reminded me of because I had a habit of saying things however they came out, without regard to the delivery, especially if what I was saying was the truth. This time, I took more time to think. Just thinking, I said. For Christmas during my freshman year, I asked my father for a word processor that I planned to use to complete my college papers. I wanted the word processor with the monitor that resembled a computer because it would be easier completing the many papers I'd be assigned as a mass media arts major. Instead, I asked for the one that resembled a typewriter with the flip-up screen that only showed 3 to 4 lines at a time. Because he is sending child support, I reminded myself. I became increasingly conscious that my child support was a burden to my father. So I graciously asked for the least expensive word processor of the two. Once I learned my father was sending child support, I became reluctant to ask him for anything because, like a reflex, his systematic response was, ask your mother. I'm sending child support. After Christmas, as with every Christmas, there was an after Christmas sale in stores. Those of you that live in Baltimore, you remember Best, the store Best. It was over there off of Security Boulevard. I think it was on Whitehead Road. That's where they got this word processor from. I was at my father's house flipping through the newspaper and noticed the word processor I originally wanted was on sale, and it was only $50 more than the one I had received for Christmas. I called my mother first to discuss the possibility of exchanging it. I figured I should ask her to cover the difference in cost because it would have been ungrateful to ask my dad to exchange it and pay the additional amount. My mom agreed to cover the difference if my father didn't mind exchanging it. Look at Stacy where her lady is coming in saying hello. Just sit down, take a seat here. People trying to hear the show. Don't acknowledge her, Shauna. Sit down. She should have been here at 9 o'clock. She know what time it is. I'm playing, Stacy. I hung up the phone and found my father milling around in the kitchen. I told him what my mother and I discussed, and surprisingly, he was okay with the idea. I wasn't shocked that he agreed to let me exchange it. Rather, he didn't use this as an opportunity to say no to my mother. Joanne has the receipt. Ask her for it and we can run to the store to exchange it, he said. Up to this point, Joanne and I were beyond cordial. Most times when I called my father's to speak to him, she and I would talk instead. My father and Joanne met as neighbors. Her home was 2 doors from his. She worked from home as a self-employed daycare provider, so she often saw my dad coming and going to work. When they married, Joanne retained her home to continue the business there and moved into my dad's home. I never trusted that decision. I always felt like it was her safety net in case their marriage dissolved. When I got to Joanne's house, she was working with the children in the daycare, so I got straight to the point. Hi, Joanne. My father said you have the receipt for the word processor. Can I have it, please? She had a puzzled look on her face. What's the problem? Nothing. I found another one on sale that I want to exchange it for. Not only did she look disgusted, but she looked agitated too. Well, why can't you keep the one you have? A friend of mine did me a favor and got that with her discount. I couldn't believe she was bothered. What did that have to do with me exchanging it? The one I really wanted is on sale and it's only $50 more, so I'm exchanging it for that one. Well, at this point, I think you should just keep the one you have because you're starting to sound ungrateful. I didn't ask you or my father to pay the difference. My mother says she would. Can I have the receipt? She handed me the crumpled paper and I walked out. Our relationship changed forever that day, and all because of a 10% discount that barely covered the state tax. So that's an excerpt from my first book. Oh, she was a bitch. So that's an excerpt from my first book. Words Never Spoken. Mary says she downloaded hers last night so she could participate in this conversation tonight, but she only read the first chapter, so I don't know how much contribution she's going to be able to make because I didn't read from the first chapter. That was from the 4th chapter. What are you guys thinking? It doesn't have to be about that. It could be about whatever. But see, let me say this while y'all... No, they divorced. They divorced. And they didn't stay married much longer than that. And I used to tell my dad, you know, our relationship has changed because of your marriage. And there's no guarantee that you'll always be married to her. But the reality is I will always be your son. I said, so you better hope. I had a smart ass mom. I was in college when I told him this. I said, so you better hope that you stay married to her, because should the day come that you no longer are in that marriage, you're going to need me. You're going to need me at some point. And won't you know he did? So when I go home to Maryland, my mom now lives here in Georgia, but she just moved here in June. So whenever I would go home, I would always stay at my mom's house. And so my dad would like, Slim, you're not going to stay with me? Come stay at my house. Like he would always want me to spend the night at his house, like when I would go and visit. And I didn't really understand at first why I wouldn't stay at his house. I used to always make these excuses because, see, like my dad, he doesn't have like internet because that Negro is not trying to get on a computer. He doesn't own a computer. And so when I go home, I take my laptop because I might be writing or whatever, right? And so I used to always make the excuse, oh, well, you don't have Wi-Fi. And so I would never stay at his house. But it was really because our relationship was disjointed, right? And it wasn't until I wrote this book. I was writing this book, and I actually write in this book what actually I uncovered about my relationship with my dad. I realized that I see your questions, and I'm gonna come to them. I just don't want to lose my thought. You know how I kind of get distracted if I get to reading this shit. But I realized, because when I lived in LA, Tracy, I wrote this book when I lived in LA. The second book picks up with what happened when I moved to LA. And so a friend of mine in LA said to me, because she would be around me a lot, we were around each other a lot, and she would be there to witness like phone calls that I would have with my mom, and she'd be there to witness phone calls that I would have with my dad. And one day, and this story is in this book, so I'm not going to tell it all, but she said to me one day, she was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was driving, and I was on the phone with my dad. And when I got off the phone, she hit me with one of these. She was like, she's in the passenger seat, so the passenger door is right here. She hit me with this. Wait a minute. So she like turned and looked at me like that, right? She was like, you are still that hurt little boy. And I was like, what are you talking about? Because I had told her the story from this book. And if you read this book, you know what happened every Christmas. I know Mary hasn't gotten to that part yet, so I'm not going to tell you. But if you read this book, you know what happened every Christmas, right? With me, my dad, and Joanne. And so I had told my friend in LA about that story. And so when I got off the phone that day, she turned and was like, you are still that hurt little boy. You haven't forgiven your father yet. And I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, Craig, you are still that hurt little boy. You have to forgive him. She said, when you talk to your mom on the phone, you are talking, and you know your emotions, your voice is going up and down, and you're just talking. And she said, but when you talk to she said, you're telling your mom every little thing that you do during the day, every moment, every minute, you're telling your mom. But when you get on the phone with your dad, you're on and off the phone in 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes. And she said, and your voice is like this the whole time. Yeah. No. Uh-huh. And it wasn't until I was writing this book that I got to the root. I got to the rut. And I realized that I was punishing him because of how he had treated me while he was married. I thought about how he didn't want to send the child support. I thought about just all of those things. I was beyond salty. I was livid. But I had packed all of those feelings and things away. And it was also the reason why I hadn't had the conversation with him about being gay. I was basically punishing him for the way he treated me during that marriage, or not even defending me when he was in that marriage. So even when I had produced my first stage play, which I write about in here, the show had sold out. My mom had come down to every single production. I never even told him about it. I mean, he knew about it, but I never invited him. He never came down. So I had really just kind of recategorized him. I had like put him in a forgotten part of my life. And even now, to this day, like I've gotten to a point where I have gotten past it. Because I recently sent him a text message, probably a couple of months ago. And I said to him, I want you to know that I love you. Because you've handled my reaction to you after uncovering all of this stuff with so much grace and with so much respect. Because he's allowed me to kind of act out, if you will. Like we've had conversations. Like when this book came out, he and I had conversations about how he took my name off the house, and I'm his only child. So he took my name off the house, put her on it. He took me off the life insurance, put her on it. You know what I'm saying? Just all kinds of crazy shit like that. And so there are some things that we've debated. And he tried to act like, well, no, that didn't happen. I'm like, listen, what you're not going to do is repudiate my feelings. What you're not going to do is disavow my feelings. And so I said to him, I said, listen, recently when I sent him a text, I said, I appreciate the grace, because he's let me kind of like go off. Like I've not like cussing and carrying on like that. I don't mean like that. But like when he's talking, I'm like, Dad, listen, that's not what happened. Like, you know, and I'm real firm and I'm real matter of fact, and I'm looking him right in his eyes. And I'm like, that's not what happened. And I need you to own what you did. Like, I understand that you're Here come Raymel's late ass. Have a seat. We're in the middle of a dialogue. Sit down. All this hellos and greetings and salutations. Sit down. Get here on time, and I don't have to do all of this. Amen? No, I'm just kidding. Hey, Raymel. Yes, you cannot repudiate, you cannot disavow my feelings. And so so I had to tell him recently, I said, listen, I appreciate you listening. Because how many black men, how many black fathers would really just shut down and wouldn't even listen? You know what I'm saying? Wouldn't even dignify me by listening. You know what I'm saying? So I had to, because he never ran from the conversation. Like we would go to dinner and, you know, and sometimes we would end up having these conversations at dinner. And I'm like, no, this is what happened. You know what I'm saying? So he never tried to run from the confrontation. So I had to applaud him and thank him for that. So I'm past it now. But before I was past it, I really had to challenge myself to reach out to him more. Because I literally could go days without talking to him. And then he'll call and be like, hey, Craig. You know what I'm saying? And I could tell he was making efforts to try to repair it, and I just wasn't really fucking with him like that. But with that being said, and then I'm going to go back through here and look at your questions. Okay, Wisdom, go ahead and send that coin through there. Amen? You know how to do it through PayPal up there? So, so for those of you who are parents, and you're not with the parent of your child, you're not with the father, your spouse or mother or whatever, of your children, and you're in a new relationship, don't you let people mistreat your children. Because I'm telling you, they will never forgive you. Or it may take forever for them to forgive you, is what I'm saying. I never understood why or how men or women can move into a new relationship and then all of a sudden they abandon or they allow the dynamics that they had with their child to change for a new partner. And I used to tell him that. I'm like, do you think she would choose you over her children? Because her children were grown. Her children were at least 10 years older than I am. And remember, I was college age at the time, so I was like 19, 20. So they were like 30, 31, 32. And so they had already been to college. And I used to say to him, I'm like, do you understand? They've already gone to college. They've gotten their degree. And you're telling me that you can't send my child support because y'all getting married? What the fuck you talking about? And then I had to let his ass have it too after I graduated. Because he would always be telling people, yeah, my son graduated from college. Or like when I was in school, people like, how's Craig doing? Oh, my son at college. And I had to light his ass up one day. I'm like, you always celebrating and talking about your son is in college, but you ain't doing nothing to help me. All you're doing is sending the child support. He didn't do anything beyond the child support. My mother was paying like my phone bill. Because at school, we had like phones in our dormitory. And it was connected through like MCI or AT&T or one of them phone services. And so the bill would come every month. She would pay that. And she paid my tuition, whatever wasn't covered like by my financial aid or student loans. So she paid. But that Negro didn't help with any of that. So I feel like now, even now, he tries to compensate, you know, for what he didn't do back then. So for those of you, again, I can't say it enough, like, don't ever choose a partner or a spouse over your child, because nobody that you end up in a relationship with that did not parent your child is going to treat your child the way that they would treat their own. And I'm not saying that they have to be mean or nasty. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying they're going to mistreat them, but they will never treat your child the way that they're going to treat their own child. So don't ever choose some man or some woman over your child. Fuck that. Because if they don't understand that, then send their asses on. Exactly. Nobody should ever. So now I'm scrolling back up. You can ask your questions and stuff. I think the first question was from Tracy, so I'm going to scroll back up. Oh, so I see Deonica's question right here. Yes, my relationship with my dad is better now. So when I go home now, even before he moved down here, even before my mom moved down here, I started staying at his house. Because it was like, okay, Craig, you're not staying at his house because he doesn't have Wi-Fi? Like, seriously? And so I knew it was some bullshit. And I make a concerted effort now to text him, because he texts now, so he loves to text. So, like, I'll text him now, or I'll call him just to let him know I'm thinking about him, that kind of thing. Because I don't want him to, because, again, I'm his only child. So I don't want him to think that, you know, that I forgot about him or something, you know. And so, like, when my mom moved here, she moved here because, you know, I'm here. My nephew, who she raised, is here with his wife and all of his kids. And she wanted to be closer to us. And she's getting older, right? And so she just got tired of the responsibility of taking the trash out, because there was nobody in the house with my mother. So she had to take the trash out on whatever day the trash gets picked up. And then another day she had to take the recycling out. So it was just too much responsibility. And she was tired of going up and down the stairs in our house. So she wanted to move here. So my dad said to me when I was home, so if something happens to me, well, where am I going to go? He was asking me. And so he just asked me recently. I said, well, I guess you're going to move to Georgia, because I'm certainly not moving back up there. And so he just kind of laughed. All right, so let me find, I think, no, they divorced. I answered that one. Yeah, Joanne was a mess. I would love for this book to be turned into a movie. I'm really thinking about combining, this is a remember when I told you about my new friend that I said I think is going to be part of my tribe, and I posted his thing yesterday about the grind, the difference between the grind and being on a journey. The project that he told me I should do is to combine both of these books into one and to turn it into a stage play, turn it into a stage production. So that's something that I'm going to be working on soon. I'm trying to get back up to Tracy's question, because I think oh, okay, yeah. So let me scroll down, because I'm back up to where I last looked. Thank you, Stacy. You said you're almost at the end of the first book, and it's such a great read. Thank you very much. So then I should be seeing your order for this next book. Amen. Okay, so here's Tracy's question. When was the last time you seen or spoke to her? Oh, wow. She came to my paternal grandfather's funeral, and he died, but we didn't speak. I just saw her ass over in the cut, and I just kind of looked and came and, you know, went and sat down. But he passed away, what year is this, 2017? He died about 7 or 8 years ago. So he died in like 2009, something like that. So she was at the funeral. So that was the last time I saw her. Is your father still married? I'm scrolling through the questions. You can type your question. I'm gonna get to it. Thank you, Sherry Shaw. Oh, I'm getting hungry. Oh, right now you were dealing with family issues, so that's why you late? I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully you got them resolved. Wisdom says she's about to order her books. Amen. You're only passing because they're divorced. Look at Mary telling me I'm only passing because they're divorced. Hey, Celeste, over there in Alabama. No, he's not remarried, Loretta. That's the next question I see. No, he's not remarried. He's single. He has a girlfriend. And I just recently had to gather. Tracy, you're new to the group. So when I do this means you have to gather a bitch. That means you have to get somebody together, right? They all know what that means, because I do it all the time. But he has this woman that he's dating now, and I like her. But then she started trying to be tripping. Like, she started trying to trip recently. Like, my mom needed some shit from my dad. And without going too much into that, but like my mom, let me see, how I'm going to put this. My mom was going through some shit, right? And this was before she moved down here to Georgia. And so I wasn't there. My sister was there, so my sister was helping her. So she had like a few appointments, doctor's appointments that she needed my dad she needed somebody to take her to. So I called my dad. And I said, hey, can you, work that out? Can you take my mom? He said, yeah. I'll do it. Well, here, this girlfriend of his was like, so she still needed to take you? Like, what's going on? Like, why? She had her mouth all in that, right? Insecure. And so he told my mom that he couldn't take her to her doctor's appointment. And it was an appointment she couldn't drive to. So he told her that he couldn't take her. And so, I called him and got him together. I had to gather him. And then I told him on the phone call, I said, and when I see her, I'm going to get her ass together too. I said, I'm telling you now. I said, you can start this nonsense again with another woman, but this is the last time I'm going to deal with this. I said, so you're going to have to make a decision. I said, because I'm not going through this again with somebody else. Because he was talking about she wanted to move in. I said, I don't care nothing about her moving in. And then he had the nerve to say to me, oh, I got so much to say. He had the nerve to say to me, so how do you feel about her moving in? I said, I don't care nothing about her moving in. I said, but I'm telling you now, if shit changed again, I didn't say shit, but it's going to be a problem. And so then this whole thing happened with the doctors. And I'm like, okay, don't start this again. So then he going to say to me one day, well, she's concerned that if she moves in and if something happened to me, that you're going to put her out of the house. I said, well, I know you don't think she's going to stay there. So you mean to tell me you think that if you die, of course the house going to come to me because I'm the only child. I told you guys that. You think I'm going to let her stay in there rent-free? Or she worried that I'm going to put her out? I said, no, I ain't going to put her out. Just put her out. She going to have a notice, 60 days, but she going to have to go. I said, so you concerned about her? Anyway, I done went into another conversation. Yes, Deonica, I'm trying to do my part. Yeah, so I'm thinking about making this a stage play. So what I need to do first is combine both of the manuscripts, which I have not done yet. But I'm going to tell you what I did work on today. Remember, I think you guys were asking me last week about doing a book of quotes. I write these original quotes. Tracy, I know you're new. I have a wall of quotes in this other room and in my guest bathroom. And I write these quotes, right? So I'm thinking about doing, I pulled it up today, and I'm actually going to start going through the quotes and see which ones I'm going to put in the book. And I'm thinking, I don't know what the title of this book is going to be yet, so if y'all got any suggestions, let me know. But I was looking at some other books of quotes, and I saw one that was called, I don't remember what it was called, but it was one quote each day. It was like 365 quotes, a quote for each day of the year, something like that. So I don't know if I'm going to do it like that. But I do know this is what I'm going to do. All of my quotes that have something to do with faith are going to be in one chapter called Faith. But all of the quotes are going to be sanguine to faith. And then I'm going to do a section maybe called a chapter called Relationships, maybe. I don't know yet. And all of the quotes are going to be relative to dating and that kind of thing. So it's going to be a book of quotes. And so my plan is to have that out before Valentine's Day. Amen. Amen. So, don't be worrying the shit out of me, okay? Because I'm still trying to write the third book, Tracy, which is called Book of Jewels. But I'm going to try to have that book of quotes out by, what'd I say? Valentine's Day. So I need to combine the two manuscripts for the first two books so that I can stage it as a play, okay? But in the meantime, I'm trying to get A Day in the Life up and running again, too. When I was in Houston this past weekend, I was talking to some people about sponsorship. So one of the other authors that I know gave me some contacts that he has so that I can try to find the resources to put A Day in the Life up again. Because I definitely want to do the show again. Listen to Stacey telling me they would play the characters. Marika, she auditioning. Ray Mel is auditioning. I would love to do a mini-series, Alfonso. But the thing is, I think I've told you guys before, I've been developing a television show for the past, next month, October, will be 5 years with Suzanne DePaz. Suzanne DePaz, again, is credited with discovering Michael Jackson, the Commodores, She's in partnership with Wendy Williams. They do productions and stuff together. She did Searching for Neverland, that movie about Michael Jackson that just came out. So she's big time. But we have this show that we've been developing, and it's just not so easy to get a show on the air. Now, the thing that I was considering was maybe trying to do like an internet show, like an internet series. It would be a scripted show, but it would be on internet, or like YouTube, or maybe even do it where, yeah, I don't know, either YouTube or send it straight to Netflix. I don't know how it would be done, but that requires me to count on other people. Like I would have to have a production team, which I do work with 2 different production teams, but you got to have money to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So I was thinking a web series, but again, I would have to get actors in place. I would have to get the film people, the video people. But again, you got to have money to pay these people. I'm sure I could probably find actors that are hungry and they need to create their reel. You know what I'm saying when I say a reel? Like they need to have like a short 3-4 minute video of all of the productions that they've done where like they send out their reel, their audition reel, for people to see them in action. So I'm sure I could get people that would do it, but I still would have to have camera people in place so that we could film it, we could edit it, and each week drop a new episode. You know, that's pretty much what Issa Rae did, which I thought was brilliant, and that's how she started with Insecure, because she started with Awkward Black Girl. But I'd rather do the projects that I can control and just put out to you, like the Book of Quotes. I can stage this play. You know what I'm saying? Like, that requires me to work and depend on too many other people. Excuse me. I didn't even eat and I'm belching and shit. Y'all crazy. Tracy, you said I just gave her a look. I'm still catching up on y'all messages. Mom never remarried a day. My mom, she did date seriously. She dated JB. Remember, he was in the first book. JB helped me get down to college. You know, he drove us down there. But remember, JB was married. JB was married. And his wife lived like 3 streets over. Like 3 streets over from us. And he came to our house every day. He cooked. He had a key. He never spent the night, though. And he never went on vacation with us either. But he always came over. And I didn't like the fact that he had a damn key to the house. Coming back to it. Like, we done had an argument today. Knock down, drag out argument. I don't mean fighting. Just knock down, drag out argument. 2 weeks later, you still talking about that shit. You know, some things you just can't resolve in one conversation, in one argument, right? So he allowed me to revisit that conversation. Like, it will come up. And even like the girlfriend that he has now, like, she read both of these books. And she used to say to him, you need to read those books. Because my dad stopped reading probably around page 30-something. He didn't even get deep into it. And he bought both of them. Like, he supported both of them and bought both of them. But he just didn't read it. And his girlfriend, his current girlfriend, would say to him, you really need to read those books to understand your son, to really understand what he's saying. And, but my point is, so she would say, you really need to read it because you'll understand how he felt when you were married to Joanne. Because there are some things that you just still not getting. But because I was able to revisit the conversation with him at different points, I think I've said everything I need to say about it. You know what I mean? So that's the closure that I needed as it relates to that. So listen, when I do figure out where to get this money from to do A Day in the Life, that's my first stage play. This stage play will probably be called Words Never Spoken. I don't know what it's going to be called. But when I get the money to do A Day in the Life, I'm going to be talking about it. I'm going to do Facebook Lives from the rehearsal and shit. I don't care what city you in. I'm going to need y'all to book a plane ticket and fly down here and come see the show. Amen? A Day in the Life, the stage play. I don't have a date yet, though. I need to get the money. Look at Ray Mel talking about when auditions. I don't know when auditions are. I got to do it first. I got to finish it. Yes, Impeccable Works is still up and running. Impeccable Works Impeccable Works is my publishing company. See? Impeccable Works. The second book, Impeccable Works. So yes, Impeccable Works is the parent company of Say It in the Card, my greeting cards. Tracy, I have a greeting card business. Well, you know that. You read the book. Mary is the one that didn't read the book. The greeting card business is sayitindthecard.com. There's a website up there. Hey, LaTracy. Look at Marika says she already claimed her part. She got that part. Book number 3 that I'm currently writing is called Book of Jewels. It's called Book of Jewels. But the book of quotes that I was just telling you guys about that I'm going to have out before Valentine's Day, I don't know what that's going to be called. So if you got ideas of what the book of quotes can be called, let me know. The greeting cards can be purchased at sayitindacard.com. So what I would need you to do, because sayitindacard.com is not an e-commerce site, the way that my CraigTheWriterStewart.com is an e-commerce site. So if you find cards on sayitindacard.com that you like, there's an item number on each of them. Like there's an item number on all of them. Just tell me the item. Just email me the item number, like from like my Facebook or something, and then I'll ship them to you. That's what I did with Tracy. She just sent the money through PayPal. Because again, that's not an e-commerce. It used to be an e-commerce site, but I took it down because you have to pay for those e-commerce sites. Like you pay monthly, even if nobody's ordering. Like you're paying for that, and it's just too much to kind of manage. Like I have CraigTheWriterStewart.com. I have sayitindthecard.com, and you can actually get to Say It in the Card from Craig the Writer Stewart. Like in the About section, and there's my bio. And it mentions Say It in the Card. And when you click Say It in the Card, it's a hyperlink and it takes you over there. Oh, look at Deonica. She already told Kendall, Book of Jewels, y'all better be on it, baby. Yes, Stacy, we're going to make it happen. So my challenge now is I have my sponsorship deck done for A Day in the Life, the stage play. The question is, who do I get it to in terms of corporate sponsors? That's the challenge, is isolating who to get it to at UPS, or who to get it to at Sveka or Verizon, or, you know, whatever corporate companies, you know what I'm saying? The question is who to get it to that handles which department, which person to handle sponsorship, because I just need to send them the sponsorship package. Because I want to do the show. I want to do A Day in the Life next August. So that gives me a year to do it. Shauna, you can start a pro bono doing what? I got a degree in IT and not in media technology production. What? Loretta, my dad, wait, what? My dad's new girlfriend may want to help with what? I know, I'm all on here telling my mother's business. Alfonso, you do not have my books? Oh my God, like seriously. Alfonso, you playing. But anyway, if you want to purchase the books, Alfonso, there's a link up here. If you go back to the beginning of this video, I don't know when you came in, Alfonso. I don't know if you heard me read the whole section that I read. But I read an excerpt from there. And I read some excerpts from both books on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. But all of that information is up here in the caption. Every time I do a live video, that information goes up there. The YouTube channel is up there. My Instagram is up there. How to purchase the So Much to Say podcast t-shirts, sweatshirts, whatever. Those are up there. And if you want to purchase an autographed copy of the books, that detail is up there too. It tells you how to do all of that up there. Tracy, I know you're in here. I don't know if you've been listening to my podcast. It's called So Much to Say. And we talk about all kinds. Listen, we talk about all kinds of shit. The double standard of bisexuality. I have a conversation with my parents on there where I actually talk to them about how they felt about me being gay, what their feelings were. And It's a whole bunch of shit on there. But I don't know if you have an iPhone or not, but it's in iTunes, it's in Spotify, it's in SoundCloud, Google Play, all of that. Jackie, you said, did he leave her anything? Did he leave who anything? Talking about the ex-wife? No, they divorced. She ain't getting shit. Oh, you talking about the girlfriend now? No, he ain't got nothing to leave her. Whatever he got to leave is coming to me. Okay, so Tracy, I already answered that question. So yeah, I talk about him in the second book. Wisdom, where did you send your email? You sent the email to So Much to Say podcast? That's what I'm trying to understand. Jackie, you ordered a shirt up here. Girl, you've been coming to this conversation at 9 o'clock Monday through Friday long enough to know where to order the t-shirt. Will somebody help Jackie? Because I'm tired of helping Jackie. Somebody help her. I'm just kidding. Thank you, Ray Mel. Oh my God. She coming here every night, Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock, and she needs somebody to tell her how to buy the t-shirt. I could accept that from Tracy or from Alfonso because they new to this. But Jackie, Tracy, you're going to have your book tomorrow, and I had them sent so that you guys will have them by, you probably will be at work, but you'll have them by 10 in the morning, 10:30, whatever that time is. Oh, Jackie, you ordered your book through Amazon. Okay, perfect. So you got the book. Okay, yeah, Jackie, start reading. What's up, Bianca? What's your late ass? Who stop reading, Shauna? Exactly, Ray Mel. So how did the new girlfriend, my father's new girlfriend, not realize that? Because she can't stand the ex-wife. So why is it that she assuming the role that Joanne was taking, you know, being a damn nuisance and insecure and shit? Shauna says she gonna come down for the play when I get the funding. I ain't got the funding yet, but I'm gonna give y'all plenty of time to let y'all know when the show is gonna be going up, when the tickets go on sale and all that good stuff. And just make a little weekend of it. You know what I'm saying? Come down, get your girls, come down for the show. I'm going to have shit for sale in the lobby. You already going to have the books, but I'm going to have books in the lobby. I'm going to have my book of quotes by then. That's going to be in the lobby. I might even have Book of Jewels. I mean, you can listen at your leisure. But it's some really good shit. And I put like sound effects in there to kind of make it funny when it's apropos. I know, Tony, it's after 10 o'clock. All right, I'm just trying to get through the questions, though, Tony. That's the only reason I'm still on here. So once I get to the bottom of this. Oh, so Bianca said she got in late, but she still was tuned in. Oh, so Alfonso, you live in Georgia. So then, yeah, you would just drive up for the play. Amen. LaTracy, I promise, I'm gonna have this book of quotes out. Oh, Wisdom says she's going to come out from Jacksonville. I met Wisdom at a book signing in Jacksonville about two or 3 years ago. Yes, Shauna says she needs a video. Opening night. Loretta says she's going to fight Joanne and the girlfriend and just move in with my father. Yes, Deonica, like I would have LaWayne if he wanted to come down. He's a gay author. If he wanted to come down from Nashville, he could. But and then like there's another author that was down in he lives in Dallas, but he was in Houston. So the symposium that was just this past weekend, I told the author that came up from Dallas about it, and I told another author from Atlanta about it. So they came and they were able to introduce their works to a new audience. So I was thinking about them. So like once I do my stage play, I'll have a space for them to set up like in the lobby of the theater. So like when you come out for intermission and then after the show, you know, you can see what they got. And if you're interested in buying their books, you can. Alfonso, your brain is working. Oh, Terry, what city are you in? You said you don't fly. You might have to jump in a car. Yeah, I love Southwest. Yes, Kent, I do have cards that express feelings to mothers. Y'all crazy. Aaron and Shauna talking about the walk. Yes, Tracy, you are my first Tracy. Tracy Bailey. Listen to Bianca with her messy ass. Talking about, doesn't Tyler reach back down in the crab basket and help others? I can't speak on that because he hasn't helped me. He did help me with the $1,000. Now, that's what he did help me with. Amen. So Aaron says he believes that the adoption podcast was the best one. What's your favorite podcast so far? I'm telling you, we got some good ones coming up. I cannot wait for y'all to hear this one coming up on Monday. It's with these two single fathers that are trying to participate in their children's lives, and these baby mamas, these baby mothers, as they say in Baltimore, just will not allow it. Stephen Woodson said he wants to help with the play. Yeah, Tracy, I did read Elin Harris's books. I was a fan of his early works, so like Just as Invisible Life, Just as I Am, and This Too Shall Pass had to grow on me. But once I got into it, I loved it. I didn't like the way And This Too Shall Pass started. Because if you remember that book, it had, I don't remember how many characters was in it, but the first chapter, it talked about one character, and it was just that person's life. And the second chapter was the next person's life, and it talked about them. And then the third chapter was the third person's life. And then it wasn't until the fourth chapter that it merged them and they all came. I didn't kind of like the way that started, but I loved it by the time I finished it. But one of the stories that I've shared before, in fact, I said this in Houston at the symposium. When Elin Harris died, I hadn't written a book yet. And I can't remember what year he died. But when he died, I felt a shift, like an internal shift. And I didn't know what that would mean to my life or to my career, because I hadn't written a book at that point. Now I understand. There will never be another Elin Harris, just like there will never be another me or another you. So it's not my intention to replace him or be better than him or anything like that, because I think there's enough room for all of us. But I do believe that he opened the door for what I create today. And so when you look at the Amazon reviews, most of those reviews on there are people that I don't know. But they're like, oh my God, you're the new Elin Harris. Oh my God. You picked up right where he left off. And so it was such a compliment. So I realized what that shift I felt when he passed, what it meant. And I thought a lot about him once I released my first book, in terms of, he started by selling books out of the trunk of his car, and I was doing the same thing. I've gone to hair salons and sold books. I've been at brunch, different places, and sold books. So I thought about how our lives paralleled, our careers paralleled in that sense too. But the advantage that I had when I put my first book out that he did not have was social media. There was no social media when Invisible Life came out. So it encourages me and it inspires me, because if he was able to accomplish everything that he accomplished without social media in the beginning, and that first book became a breakout hit, I know what's possible with these books because I have social media. And I've been able to reach all of you and people in different cities and countries that I've never even been to, all because of social media. So that's why I always ask you guys to post a picture of your books on your social media and share it, or even write a review on Amazon or in iTunes if you download it, or a Kindle, because that stuff really counts. People look at that stuff, and it really determines whether or not they're going to buy it, whether or not they're going to buy the book. So, and I read his memoir too, which I thought was good too. So yeah. Loretta ain't gonna have her name on my father's house. He learned now. He know better. Oh, Loretta and Wisdom are both in Jacksonville. Okay. So several of you were saying my Aunt Gloria was the favorite podcast. T.S. Madison. T.S. Madison. That's actually my favorite book. Oh, so In This Too Shall Pass was your favorite book, Tracy McDowell. Okay. Yeah, I did like it. It had to grow on me. But after that, I didn't really read any more of his books. Because to me, his early stuff was really rich. His early works were really rich. And what I mean is, the stories were so pure and like you wanted to read them like voraciously. But as he started to make money and, you know, the stories weren't so, I don't know, they just didn't feel as good to me. And I made a promise to myself many years ago, before I ever wrote a book, that I don't want to be one of those writers that puts out a book just because the public is ready to hear something else from me. If I don't absolutely love it, whether it's a TV show, whether it's a stage play, I'm not going to ask you to come and pay for it. I'm not going to do that. Like, I have to absolutely love it. And I'm not saying that he didn't love the stuff that he put out. That's not what I'm saying, because I don't know that. I met him a few times, but I never asked him about his work. But yeah, so if I don't love it, I'm not putting it out. So I don't want to be one of those writers that loses his impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like I'm a hip hop fan, like Lil' Kim. Like, her old shit was so gritty and it was so raw because she was hungry. She was hungry. Now she comfortable. She got money. She ain't really steeped in the hood like she was before. So like when you're in the grit, you can write that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. All right, I'm getting there. What becomes of? Yeah, what becomes of a broken heart? Yeah, I did read that. I just finished with the online class because I had to go. Thank you, Tracy. Okay, so he died in 2009. Thanks, Eric. And I didn't write my first book. I didn't publish my first book until 2012. So when he died in 2009, I felt like it was going to mean something to my life and to my career, but I didn't know what. And then when I started writing the first book, I was like, that's it. Alfonso, you ain't bought no books. You ain't listened to the podcast. Now, Alfonso, the podcast is free. I did an adoption podcast that went up there yesterday. It's a gay couple, a same-gender couple, who adopted a little boy, but they now have a second boy. Since I did that podcast, they've brought another child into their house. And so that was a really good conversation because you got to get a little bit about their relationship too. Because I think people just think, oh, they adopted. But what about the backstory of the relationship? Like, how did they grow to the point that they were able to adopt? Because some of y'all can't even make it through a lease, a 12-month lease in a relationship. So don't be talking about you going to adopt, amen? You need to make sure your relationship is solid. Thank you, Godfrey. You said all of them were great. Thank you, Carolyn. I look forward to doing this too. I love coming on here. Right, Mary. Tell her. All right, so yeah, I'm about to get off here. I was just trying to get to the... Okay, yeah, I'm at the last comments. Okay, just one. Okay, so I've been on here for an hour and 23 minutes. Look at Loretta talking about she gonna be my stepmom. Now that I finished school, maybe now I can read those books and listen to the podcast. All right, so listen, it was great talking to you guys. I will be here tomorrow at 9 p.m. again. Remember, I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. for Facebook Live. A brand new podcast drops every Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you set your notifications up here, you'll know every time I come on live, because sometimes I'll click on in the middle of the day too. It just depends. But I do come on at 9 p.m. All right? Be safe. Keep loving yourself. Write your 5 things down that you're grateful for from yesterday. Write 5 things down that you were grateful for yesterday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, Bianca.